All right, hello, Samuel. What is it about the New York Asian Film Festival that makes it a special event for the people in Gotham City?
I think we're kind of unique in that everyone says their showcases is unique. I'm sure, but our spirit is really quite different. It was started as a fanboy event, so the point of origin is really quite different in this sense. And for better or for worse, it was never really designed to be like a professional event in a sense. So that's both good and bad. But I think in terms of the spirit and the experience you're having, it makes it quite unique because it's a fairly, I mean, it's a festival. It's a film party essentially. Now having grown over the past decade in particular, it looks different. I try to have it as professionalized as possible, but it's just I think it's a really fun event. We don't show like glorified slideshows and like people quoting Heidegger and so on. So I think in this sense, it's really quite different.
Beautiful. And how would you describe or maybe characterize your audience?
Well, I think it's very New York in that I know it's become a bad word in the past year or more, but it's quite diverse. It represents what New York is. There's really a little bit of everybody, and I think in this sense was so quite unique in that it's very democratic. A lot of people. Ultimately, who goes to film festivals, right? It's a specific crowd, and but if you go outside of that, the average Joe, whoever, I still encounter a lot of folks who are just like, "Oh, can I come?" Like, yeah, you can come. So that means at a mainstream level, a lot of folks have this impression of film festivals as being these exclusive, highbrow art house fests. And I think we're quite the opposite. We're not particularly highbrow, although I like to think what we're doing is intelligent in terms of its curation. I mean, we take our job quite seriously and try to really find not just have a bunch of films put together and okay, and have an all you can watch buffet. But yeah, I mean we're not anyone can come. Anyone can come. I still have this question, oh, can I come if I'm not if I'm not Asian? I'm like, yes, you can come. What the hell, man? Sure. It doesn't, it's okay. Anyone can come. Seriously. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Um, what were some notable Asian films you saw at the Cannes Film Festival? And are any of them playing at the New York Asian Film Festival?
So Jesus. Okay, so even though that was very recent, that's a good question. I mean, we are in the film festival space is quite competitive, so we often have to. It's all about, being the first to discover. But film programmers go around the world, they watch the same stuff. Or sometimes they don't, and that's why I'm proud of what we do because there are some movies you have no idea about. So that those we have some genuine finds and not just stuff that's like it's been circulating from international film market or international film festival to another. So sure, I think so. I wish I wish I would sound more like someone who knows what he's doing, but as of right now, we just had our launch. And I'm just thinking about the films we could not get. And I want to talk about those because that makes me mad a little bit. A little bit, but like some platforms might be better than we are. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, we are also quite specific. But yeah, I watched a number of films when I was there. Some of them good, some of them really bad. But yeah. Did anything from Cannes make it there? Typically, there's always something. For example, I remember one year, Coin Locker Girl was at the Week's Critic. We grabbed it right away. Sorry, I think my notifications are on. Okay, I think they should. Yeah, sorry about that. I probably heard the my notifications. Yeah, so yeah, from the film market, certainly. We did have a few films that we picked at the Cannes Film Market, the industry part, not the public screenings.
Oh, okay. I just remember Twilight of the Warriors last year. You had that one, and that played at Cannes.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
But that
see,
was last year.
that was last year.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they had they had something similar in a sense. They had Sons of the Neon Knight. So we are not gonna show that one. And when you see it, you might understand why. So yeah.
All
So I
right.
don't like
And
the film. I don't understand the film, and I'm not the only one. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't get it. So
it's fair enough. I don't get a lot of things either. Um,
there you go.
so tell me about, excuse me, I'm a little ill. Tell me about some of the first time female directors that you got showcased at the festival.
Right. So, I mean, first of all, it's not that easy to get. In Asia, is a little more conservative. The term is often patriarchal. So we have a number of female directorial debuts. In general, a lot of films we are showing are directed by women. So that's something we've year after year try to highlight. So I think we started on this very early. So yeah, I mean, for example, in our competitions, we have a film by Nam Gung-san. It's called Time to Be Strong. So it's in the competition section, and we have Ash Mayfair's second film. So a lot of first time and second time director we have. So that's one thing I can highlight. There's Flat Girls, movie directed by a young Thai director. So we're really trying to find the next wave and invest in the future and try and help people. Ultimately, at some point, you reach. I mean, we're not like Cannes or Berlin, let's face it, not delusional, or Toronto even. But I think at some level you have certain amount of power. You're in a position where you can really bring exposure, visibility to some films. So we have to help shape that as well. At some point you have to say, you have to think there's a responsibility in showing these films, in selecting them. Selecting means you're also not selecting a lot of stuff. Um, so there's that. You also have to be humble. I only realized that, seriously, I only realized that a couple of years ago. Someone told me, oh, hey, but what about the films you don't select? And I was like, yeah, that's right. What about the films I don't select? Well, I'm laughing. It's not funny because there could be, there might be errors in judgment in there, but that's also the beauty of what we're doing. We're human beings, even though I like to believe in objective beauty, greatness of a film. Uh, and I don't like using the term, oh, everything's subjective. Oh, come on, give me a break. No, there is such a thing. Some movies are just really, really awful, and some films are like really great. And you have maybe 10% of the population that just hates the world and themselves that are going to hate it. But you know what? It's not, to me, it means there is such a thing as close to objectively good. I mean, there is community consensus. So that's what I try to reach in what we're doing in terms of what we're doing. I don't know what
Beautiful.
the question was, by the way. I think I
Talk about
completely
the first time
evaded
female
it.
directors.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your question about it? You wanted me to say a
Well,
few.
just maybe like some of their names.
Well, there's let's see, first time and female. Okay. First time and female. Well, there's the director of Flat Girls. I think very talented. Visually, it's one of the most how could I put it? I mean, it's just ready for prime time. You have some of these directors, and they're just like. They just hit it on the head right away. It's kind of amazing. I don't know how that works, but but some people they have this one movie and like bam, they right off the bat they're really good at it. There's a film called Somebody that actually has two directors, Korean movie. It's a thriller, and the way Koreans make thrillers usually pretty great, very gripping, very cool, gritty story. I really love the film. So yeah, we're showing this movie as well. So the directors of the films, it's Kim Yo Jong, nothing to do with the actress, and Lee Jong Chan. There's two directors this movie. Oh, here's a movie I think is absolutely brilliant. There's a film we're showing called To Kill a Mongolian Horse. The director was born in Mongolia, which actually part of which is actually in China. That is also quite something to watch. I Visually it's quite amazing. Also, I mean, it's an intriguing title on top of it, and it's really as intriguing and striking as it sounds. It's a really brilliant film. Those films could have been made by veteran. I've seen many films by folks who are guys who have been for 20 years in the business that are not even half, of what these films are. So those are. Oh, of course, there's Lily Who. Can't forget Lily Who. So Lily Who directed a film. She has a film called One Girl Infinite. It's really punk, very kind of offensive in a way we like. It's punk, LGBTQ plus kind of movie. Really a big kick in the teeth. I love that movie. It's produced by Eric Roth, executive produced by Eric Roth, the guy behind Forrest Gump and a bunch of stuff. So she's got serious support. People believe in what she does, and we did too. So we'll be showing the film for the first time in North America. So yeah, it's a slate that I'm quite proud of. I think we have some voices. I don't like that term. What's a voice? But yeah, this is definitely a part of the festival that I think we've been improving year after year, and we try every year to do our best. I'm sure we're forgetting some stuff, sadly, but you know, you
Such
do
is
what you can
life.
and what you
Yeah.
have. Such is life. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I love seeing 35 or 60 millimeter prints, and y'all do that there. You guys play some prints, some older movies. So, what's getting played in 35 millimeter this year?
Well, I mean, most notably, we have Young and Dangerous. I mean, that has to be seen on 35 millimeter, I think. But maybe even more importantly, because that is like cinema at a transcendental level, it's Blue Spring. I mean, that is an extraordinary film. I think that's one of the films. It's one of these. That's kind of the reason why it's the kind of film, it's one of the reasons why some people decide to really get into the business of showing films or making films. It's kind of life altering, really, really impactful film. Even impactful is an understatement. It's a really dark film, just exceptionally shot. Probably one of the most, in my view, one of the top five Japanese film directors of all time. Somehow very, very underrated. Not underrated, very under the radar. I'm not sure why. It's just like I think, a number of I always say that year after year, and I know it makes me sound like I'm slagging my colleagues from other festivals, but I really think, and also I myself am European, but like I think a lot of the choices of Asian films around the world are very Europeanized. They conform to a certain idea of what an Asian film should be, like people with conic hats, hard shit about the conditions in factories and sex workers and that kind of stuff like for genre films, it's always the same stuff, gangsters and things. Oh, of course, part of the stereotype is reality, but uh, so I think Blue Spring doesn't fit in any of these categories. It's this sort of nihilistic punk rock high school suicide tale. I don't even know how to describe it. This is a movie you really have to watch. Yeah, I think on 35. There's really something quite unique about it. Yeah, so those are the two highlights really. Sort of both. They are both extremes. Young and Dangerous is really like the Hong Kong cinema. It's also quite gritty. I mean, at the time, Andrew Lau, I think just if I remember correctly, he just used one camera. That's just him, just shooting with his camera. They had to get permission from both cops and triads. I remember when he was here, when we had him here like a while ago. I think he said, I don't think he said that on stage, but when we had drinks after the screening. I think he said, yeah, you know, the triads gave us a pretty good time actually. It was harder with the cuffs. So that's that. So anyway, Young and Dangerous, yeah, it's different. That's the golden age of one of the golden ages of Hong Kong cinema. You know, that's a multi-episode franchise, multi-film franchise that's just really iconic, you know.
Oh yeah. And so tell people who's getting the Star Asia Award, the Star Asia
Uh,
Lifetime Achievement Award,
okay.
and Screen International Rising Star Asia.
Okay, so we'll have Ekin Chang, the you know the guy who the main character, the protagonist of the Young and Dangerous franchise. The reason, well, I think it's still it's impressive because these guys they've been around for a long time, and he's still, particularly when you hit middle age, you're used to a certain type of roles, you kind of know what you want in terms of how people show you on screen. He's a singer, so like these people are in the image business, and so it becomes hard at some point to reinvent or redefine yourself. And I think that's what he's been doing. I think it's quite interesting. He's been in some really goofy comedies, not all of them great, but I think there's a boldness to what he does. And his latest film, Last Song for You, I think is exceptionally interesting. It was really kind of amazing to see him in that role. He plays this washed out music composer and stuff. I mean, it takes a lot, you know, you're like that rock star, pop star guy when you're in your 20s and you accept to take on a role like that. It's really not easy. People, I think, probably have a hard time imagining what it is to switch from one to another. It takes a lot, I think. So that I think that's a great performance, probably his best performance. And that's still someone who's widely recognized. So you have to, what we try to do is Star Asia, you know, you try, it's not about discovering. You want to recognize existing talent, but you also want to recognize that there's something particularly exceptional at the level that they are. Even though they're established, they're still fighting, and there's reinvention, redefinition. You know, you're still in the middle of that war in a good way. You're fighting the good war, so that's what it is. Well, for the rising star, we have Natalie Sue, who's just built a career for herself in basically no time. So she is just Natalie is just really the absolute, you know, pure definition of what a rising star is. Quite amazing at what she does. Extraordinary screen presence. That's something not to pat ourselves on the back. I have to say, I think in general, we've always been fairly prescient in our ability to detect new talent. I mean, when we had Kim Go-eun at the time, so we showed a film of hers called Eungyo, which is erotica. People are like, why? What's your deal? Who is she? Why would you call her a rising star? And 2 years later, she was in what's it called? Dokkaebi Goblin? I think it's called Goblin, the TV show that was one of the biggest, one of the biggest Korean show of all time. Same with Steffi Tong, you know, Steffi at the time when we gave her the Rising Star Award, she was still mostly a pop star. And we did that Rising Star thing, and everyone else did it after that. Same thing with Alk Bab of Bad Genius. So that's a good category for us, and I think that's probably it probably represents the best the spirit of the New York Asian Film Festival, I want to say. Well, now Lifetime, I mean, of course we care. I mean, the festival is over 20 years old, to 20, almost 25. So it's important for us to recognize the legacy of the past as well. We're not getting any younger ourselves, but I try to, you know, inject some new blood, bring in new folks every year. You know, it's you don't want to lead a rear guard fight. But let's face it, our job is also to preserve and to transmit, to maintain that memory which is particularly hard now. I think we live in this constantly amnesiac mode, like we forget as we go. It's the TikTok age after all. So that is more and more of a challenge. So we decided to lean into this a little more. That present, you know, yeah, it's acrobatic. You have to live in the present, find the newest thing, you know. That's like being in the present, which always escapes you, seeing ahead. And at the same time, films from 2 years ago, they're too old by now. That kind of mentality. That's what film programmers do, right? But at the same time, you also have to think, the museum curation aspect. What is important? What should we honor? So this year we have Lisa Lu, and that's probably I think yeah, it's actually, when I'm talking to you like this, I'm realizing this is actually not a bad year. Every year when we launch, I'm like, gee, could have done better. Anyway, so we have Lisa Lu, who just fresh off her Hollywood star on the Walk of Fame thing in Hollywood, right? So
Hollywood
she's
Boulevard.
98 years old. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. So yeah, at 98 years old, she's still around. Just amazing career. Like it's really hard to summarize someone who's been, started off from like this Hong Kong career, like being in the 14 Amazons, the Arch, and all that, and then moving to America. She's in everything major in the Asian American world as well. So she's this perfect bridge between what we're showing, classic genre films from kick-ass movies from Hong Kong to like the other side, the diaspora, the rise of people from the diaspora in America.
All right. And you always do a bunch of Q&As for the festival. So how many
All
do you
right.
figure you'll be doing this year?
I think it's time to pass the torch a little bit. I think people to see too much of me. I'll do a few, probably, maybe a dozen. I don't know. I think it's good to have others. It's just like to me, like whether you're making a film or showing films, it's not all about you. You have a team behind you, and they choose the films. I don't watch all the films to be honest. At this stage, the selection is quite vast, and it's literally impossible for me to carve the physical time to the actual time to watch the film. So I watch more of a short list. So some of the key components of the festival, such as the competition, of course I watch those opening, closing, centerpiece. I watch those. Having said that, I mean we have a new programmer on board. We have Anna Page from Hawaii, absolutely fantastic. In fact, she actually has more experience than me, but she's a little bit younger. But it's interesting because she's new blood, and at the same time, she's really quite experienced. So I think people like that need to be highlighted as well and be present in terms of introducing the films they have selected and the filmmakers that they think deserve the spotlight. So that's what it is. So ultimately, it's teamwork. So I work with those guys, and yeah, I'll introduce some of the films. You know. I like to think I can be entertaining sometimes.
Of course, this
Yeah.
interview's proof. So,
Thank you.
of
Well,
course, of course. So, and it's nice to hear you give someone their flowers as well. So, which Asian country is pleasantly surprising you these days in terms of quality filmmaking?
surprising. I think everything coming from Southeast Asia is kind of cool. Malaysia, I'm quite amazed at what's happening right now. I mean, well, mostly there's one guy, Chong Kit-un. I think he's a great filmmaker. I just don't know where this guy came out of nowhere to me. I just discovered him maybe a couple of years ago. Well, I think his first film was not so long ago, actually. But that is one amazing filmmaker. I think Thailand is very impressive. The production quality is really, really high. Very original filmmaking, just stuff that just go, wow. And in terms of horror, they're hard to beat. I know Indonesia makes a lot of horror film as well. But these countries, there's a lot of energy behind. So they are young cinemas in a sense. Of course, I want to insult their legacy. They're not young film industry, but it's young in the sense is there's a lot of new blood, and you can tell new ideas, new stories, new energy. The energy feels new, is what I really want to say. Indonesia, of course, where we're showing some Indonesian films that I think are one Indonesian film that's really good by Muli Surya, who actually made a film for Netflix called Trigger Warning. not necessarily my favorite film of hers, let's face it, but the films she made make in Indonesia are actually really quite strong, and hopefully she'll have a career outside of Indonesia as well. I mean, she already does. She would not have been selected by Netflix to be at the helm for no reason, right? Otherwise, from the Philippines, there's some stuff that like we have like really. So we have Lilim, which is a really sort of punch in the gut kind of horror movie. The actress Heaven Perajero is coming. The director of the film is someone who always does a lot of genre films. He's kind of touched everything. He's done zombies, like kind of J-horror style stuff. But in this, Lilim is interesting because it also has a strong political subtext that I think works particularly well. So it moves in different direction. And one of my favorite Filipino film of all time is actually Birdshot, which he made, which we showed. Oh gee, I don't remember, 7 or 8 years ago. We have The Hearing, which is a really searing drama, real story about the abuse of deaf kids. So like really harrowing stuff, but I think necessary, must see and must show for us. And I hope people come see that too, because it's an incredible film, and the closing film is a Filipino movie, right? So, I mean, Flower Girl, right? So that's one of the mo most fun film, maybe even the most fun film I've seen all year. Yeah, I just really died watching it. I was like, okay, that movie is gonna have a good spot in our lineup for sure. It's about a movie. It's about this woman who's kind of, she's pretty superficial. She's this model who advertises like for sanitary napkin brands. And she insults a trans woman one day in the bathroom, and she wakes up the next day with no vagina. So, so that's yeah, see, that's the story. So she tries to find out what happened and how to get it back. So yes, that's the story. It's really, really funny and outrageous. Incredibly imaginative. I have to say that kind of blew my mind. And so see, I'm not sure who. I mean, I think it's a great movie too because there's a social commentary in there that's really interesting and is done in the most fun format you could think of. It's the opposite of preachy. It's unforgettable. Believe me, you watch it, you won't, as they say, you will not be able to unsee it. This is a movie 10 years from now, people will still be thinking, Jesus, that film, about the woman who lost her vagina. That means just saying that out loud. How do you come up with that? I work on stories too. I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from, you know. But that's the beauty of programming sometimes. Like these discoveries are like, wow. And finding out that no one else is noticing. I'm like, Jesus, like how come this wasn't grabbed by someone else? It's just really amazing film.
I love it. God, I got to check that one out. Last year, you told me about this Filipino stoner comedy that ended up being really funny. And
I'm
then
sorry, which one?
I don't remember. It was like a stoner comedy from the Philippines.
Ah, yes, yes, that's
Yeah,
really fun. Yeah.
yeah.
During COVID. Oh, yeah, that was great. I really like this film. I forgot the title.
Same here. I'm bad with the titles. I'm getting worse. Like you said, the TikTok era. Forget everything.
Yeah.
Just bombarded with information. But I gotta ask you before we go, what do you think about the state of the South Korean film industry?
Oh, well, it's a fairly paradoxical state. I think. Well, okay, it depends on. I think there's different perspectives on that. It's very Rashomon. Well, from the inside, I can tell you, people are freaked out. Things are not going well. The local box office is really, really not good. Every now and then, the audience wakes up and goes like, okay, let's watch our films, right? So Koreans still support their own film, and I think it's a resilient industry. Of course, the situation is concerning, but it's not the first time this happened. In the 1990s, the Korean film industry was screwed. Things were not good. you know. So it's not exactly the first time, and what people don't seem to realize is the past de couple of decades might seem like a golden age. In a way, it is, but it's a cycle of booms and busts. It has this cycle like this. People catch it in America and in the outside of Korea right when it's sort of going down. They always catch in the decline phase when with a year or two later, it's quite extraordinary how that works. It shows despite the globalization phenomenon, there's still a significant delay between, adjusting between the reality of what an entertainment industry is like outside of your country and what it really is. So what did I say?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were
What
talking
I
about the
said
South
later.
Korean film industry.
Yes, yes,
We got
yes.
it. You nailed it. That's all
We
you were
got
talking
it.
about. All right. Well, Samuel, thank you so much for your time. If you had to tell people to fall, let's say that they're just hearing about the New York Asian Film Festival for the very first time. If you had to point them in the direction of one of your social media platforms, which one are you going to recommend?
They can go to our Instagram, or I would simply our website, nyff.org, or our Facebook page. We update all of them. We're on the socials like everybody else.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thanks, Michael.